take a look at these two objects. One is a chasuble, which is an outer garment worn by Christian priests during ceremonies from the collection of the Museum of Christian Art in Goa. And the other is a Kalamkari Palampore, a type of hand-painted and dyed bed cover that was made in India for the export market during the 18th and 19th centuries. This is from the collection here at MAP, Bangalore. But what could these two objects, separated by hundreds of kilometers, have in common? In this episode of Museums Without Borders, we'll find that the surprising answer is pineapples. As you can see, there is a pineapple right there in the center of the chasuble and on the borders of the Kalamkari Palampore. So how did it land up here? And how did it begin to appear on textiles, religious artifacts, and become integral to royal gatherings? Let's take a closer look with Gunjan from the Museum of Christian Art and Kurali from the MAP team as they decipher these two works, how the pineapple is represented in them, and let's see how the story starts and unfolds. Welcome to Museums Without Borders.
Christopher Columbus first encountered the pineapple in 1493 in South America. Charmed by this ornate fruit, he took several back with him to Europe, which caused a huge stir in the continent. As pineapples did not grow in Europe, they became highly prized. In the 1600s, only the wealthy could afford to import them. Interestingly, instead of eating them, they would hold parties where the fruit would be displayed for people to admire and were also rented as centerpieces. Thus, the fruit became symbolic of luxury and wealth. Pineapples were also hung on gateways as a welcome sign, symbolizing friendship. Seafaring sailors would often impale pineapples on their doorways to indicate their safe return and convey to everyone that the man of the house was back. The pineapple was soon associated with hospitality and eventually found its way into home decor and art.
To understand the significance of the pineapple in this Palampore, let's first start with the history of Kalamkari. The two words Kalam and Kari are of Persian and Urdu origin, tracing their history back to the start of trade relations between Persia and India. Kalam, meaning a pen, and Kari, meaning work, translate into a technique that blends hand painting, drawing, and block printing on textiles. Interestingly, Palampore also originates from a Persian word, Palangposh, which means bed cover. They were mostly produced in regions like the Coromandel Coast, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu in India, flourishing during the Mughal dynasty and Golconda Sultanate. And they are a very popular export product across Southeast Asia, Europe, and Middle East from the 15th to the 19th centuries. As the Palampore traveled from India to the west, the pineapple traveled from the Americas to the east.
The chasuble is the principal and most visible of the vestments worn by the Christian priest at the celebration of Mass. It was initially related to the Roman pelluna or cloak. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, the chasuble was still cut in a circle with an opening in the middle for the head. It was during the 17th and 18th centuries that it acquired its present form. These vestments, often gleaming with gold, were made with precious materials in order to glorify church services. This particular chasuble from the Museum of Christian Art is made of white silk and embroidered in golden thread with large floral motifs. The field is divided by two silk braids, which also decorate the upper part in a V shape, and an enormous silk and gold embroidered pineapple decorates the center. Let's look closely at the pineapple motif. The pineapple is a highly symbolic fruit in Christianity, whose interpretation ranges from divine wisdom to human compassion, fertility to virility, and authority to humility. The pineapple is a perennial plant that flowers once and produces a single fruit. Just as Jesus sacrificed himself on the cross, so does a pineapple give up its life for the production of one single fruit. Additionally, in religious art and iconography, pineapples were used to symbolize a sense of divine grace and providence. The intricate anatomy of the pineapple was thought to represent the artistry of God's creation. The sweet flavor of the fruit is symbolic of the sweetness of God's wisdom and sustenance it provides to the human soul. But what is the significance of the pineapple in the context of the Kalamkari in Maps collection?
This rectangular Kalamkari Palampore panel from Maps collection was possibly created sometime between the 18th and the 19th centuries. As the chintz trade with Europe picked up, tree of life motifs were commonly featured in Kalamkari Palampores. The same motif is in this Palampore along with flowering vases, rabbits and birds of paradise on stylized peonies. This brings us to the band of small pineapple motifs which extend into a festooned floral frame. The pineapple motif in this work closely resembles the lace-patterned European textile, perhaps serving as a bridge between cultures. The pineapple became a product of flourishing trade connections, swiftly evolving into a symbol of health and prosperity within India. Due to this, pineapple-laden Kalamkari textiles, such as this one, not only adorned homes but also reflected the evolving tastes and aspirations of societies. Just like the Chasuble from the Museum of Christian Arts collection, this Palampore symbolizes exoticism, cross-cultural exchange, and the evolving skills of textile makers.
It is interesting to see how trade and changing aesthetics influenced the use of the pineapple motif as it grew in popularity with Deccani Kalamkari.
Producers and consumers who were connected through the bustling trade routes of the Indian Ocean enthusiastically embraced these new tastes and motifs. In a contemporary context, this reflects the dynamic interplay between the traditional and the modern. Artisans adapted to changing preferences and global trends to produce a diverse array of motifs and patterns.
Setting up a dialogue between the Chasuble and Kalamkari Palampore allows us to uncover symbolisms associated with the pineapple motif.
Originating as a tropical fruit from South America, the pineapple's journey around the world marks a fascinating cultural exchange. We see how trade, art, devotional imagery, exoticism, and cultural adaptability came together within the context of an increasingly interconnected world. Join us next time for another dialogue in another episode of Museums Without Borders. Check out our channel for more episodes and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.